You know, you can put it in Blaze Olive's hands, Iconic's hands. It's going to be a bit to talk about just because, here's the thing. Renekton is available, Varus is available, so they're going to lock in the Renekton instead. Gwen's going to be put in their hands. I think that's going to be a huge risk that GG is taking because even in the specific matchup, if it's going to be Gwen versus Renekton, Gwen is just a much better pre-6 champion. The amount of damage that she does end up having.
Press E and run out.
Exactly. 40% attack speed steroid with bonus magic damage on top of that when it's activated, and when every time you auto-attack, resets a little bit of that cooldown.
Plus, up against a champion like Renekton that does have lifesteal built into the kit and that you often see build something like a Gore Drinker, Gwen being one of the top laners that feels confident going teleport Ignite.
True.
Ignite against healing champions is always super scary because it just means the 1v1 favors her even more. Along with the Gwen, CLG is going to pick up Lee Sin here in their first rotation. That is a very powerful 1-2.
Yeah, there we go. And Brox is, you know, in my opinion, best champion. He is a Lee Sin player for real. You know, back in Fnatic, moving over to Team Liquid, he's just had play after play after play, highlight reels on this pick. So if it's going to be going into his hands, great. Pobelter's played it in the previous week, so it can be his as well. So it's just great so far. Red side, CLG, not only do they get counterpicked, but they pick two champions that can go any which way they want.
Yeah, I love watching Broxah on the Lee Sin as well, as we're going to go back to the Golden Guardians now and see the Volibear locked in the jungle, as well as the Varus picked up here for that marksman role.
I've seen the Volibear actually. I know that it's going to be jungle here. It could be, in instances, if it's matching the Gwen, I've seen Volibear versus Gwen. It's just such a strong, you know, you pick up PTA. If you ever get into scrap, you end up winning. That same thing goes for the specific matchup versus Lee Sin. So Golden Guardians overall are just very focused on those matchups. Incredibly strong Varus pick in lane. You know, Volibear also pretty oppressive regardless of the position he's put in, jungle, mid, whatever. I mean, jungle or top, because of that inbuilt damage, the shield that he gets off his E that does a lot of base as well.
Yeah, that thing's actually deceptively powerful. If that Thunderbolt hits you,
yep,
it hurts a lot because of the percent HP damage. Also worth noting, it still could be Volibear top, Renekton mid,
yes,
with a different jungler locked in. So we will keep those possibilities open. That's exactly what CLG are expecting because they are banning a jungler here in the second half. They're saying, all right, there's a high possibility that the Volibear is the counterpick to the Gwen here. We'll ban out Nidalee because she's so powerful with Renekton as that two-champion combo.
Yeah.
Braum is the ban for the Golden Guardians. Ezreal's already incredibly difficult to get on top of, but once he has Braum defending him, it's nigh on impossible.
All the way back in the spring split, I remember when Arconic was picked up by this team, playing a lot of Taliyah. It was when Taliyah was in the meta.
Okay.
So in this case, yeah, ban it away. Okay, well, you know what?
See ya.
Fine. So like, it goes back to the point of, yeah, Renekton with any combination, doesn't know if it doesn't matter if he's mid or top lane, is still really oppressive if you're dealing with the Nidalee, the Taliyah, basically champions that need that setup and can just burst you 100 to 0. So great idea to take it off the table, and now you got to see what the changeup is going to be. If Iconic ends up picking up that Volibear, or if they're going to have another champion that can do essentially the same thing.
Okay, so for CLG, I'm expecting them to go for the support pick here. Leave that last pick open, make their opponent show their entire hand, and then decide what they want to do with the Lee Sin. That is what we'll get.
Yeah.
So Ezreal, Leona bottom. We're expecting the Gwen top. Lee could go mid, Lee could go jungle. And that will likely depend on what we see here from the Golden Guardians.
So Nautilus seems to be the pick that eventually it's just going to be picked by Golden Guardians, because so many supports are banned. The Thresh is taken away. The Leona, of course, picked off. The Braum was banned by Golden Guardians in 4-5. So there's not a lot of just straight-up beefy bruisers that can deal with the Leona all too well. Tahm Kench is going to be the answer here. It's a really, you know, a bit of a throwback that we saw Varus Tahm Kench picked up as like the dominant bottom laner. I mean, that's just Chime every single time.
You gotta hover it. It's his namesake, man.
Exactly. I like this one if it gets locked in. I don't usually like being baited by a hover, but a Blaze Olive on a Zoe last time round was beautiful.
So
and also,
that's it.
Back in Academy, when I remember a specific game that he actually picked, you know, Zoe when I was coaching him, and he just 1v9'd on that one too. So he's a bit of a good Zoe player, putting it out there.
So the Zoe picked up means that it will be Volibear in the jungle with Renekton in the top lane. We know that they're not really going to swap those around. I haven't seen Renekton jungle ever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's not happening. But the final pick of the draft for CLG, after having seen their opponent's lock-ins, knowing that it's Zoe in the mid lane, they will pick up the Syndra to go up against it. That means we get Broxah Lee Sin, Raz, and I am a happy man.
Hell yeah. We got playmaking. We got pick. potential from the Lee Sin and the Syndra. So you're gonna be seeing both Broxah and Pobelter working with each other consistently this game. But it's about that ticking time bomb in the top lane for Finn. Finn is going to be a demon as this game goes on in the Gwen. But GG has answers here. Not only do they have Poke in the mid lane, with the Varus for sure going to be going towards the Poke build. Same goes with Zoe, of course. But the answer is the Tahm Kench.
Okay.
Tahm Kench just being there, the Terran drop shipping you in the opposite side of the map if Gwen is becoming too much of a problem. That's what I'm expecting, and that's what Finn has to be cognizant of. Because we've seen a lot of split push carries in the top lane, a Gwen, a Fiora mentality where it's like you're doing so well, they can't touch you in a 1v1, but if you go too far past the river and your team's not in position to take something of equal value on the opposite side of the map, you're just dead for free. So just has to be cognizant of that.
Yes. Plus, remember, especially if you're not coordinated properly, if Gwen gets a good use of the W, that's the real outplay that we see the champion, the biggest skill expression on this champion from. Timing that correctly, avoiding the most damage. We've seen 4v1s that look like they're taking as much to kill the guy as what you would expect from a 1v1 because nobody can hurt him.
Yeah. Hey, one thing that we don't get to see and talk about a team fighting Gwen is that exact ability that you're talking about can stay up for so long, about 10 seconds actually, where if you're just sitting there, you're just zoning the enemy team. You can't do much about you unless that they fully commit on you, and your mobility on that champion pretty damn high. So I'm going to see what Finn can do on this champion.
Okay, Finn is taking the teleport ignite approach, just like we touched on in Champion Select, so extra dueling power there in the 1v1. However, less ability to escape should Iconic decide to prioritize shadowing this lane, ganking this lane, being a part of this lane. Down in the bottom lane, worth noting that we have deviations from one another in both roles. As the cleanse for the Varus, you always expect this against a Leona support. Tahm Kench also with the exhaust, probably for Gwen in the team fights, and in the lane, you're still going to get value out of that if they try to all-in you there with the Leona and the Ezreal. Everything else looking pretty par for the course here. Syndra also running the cleanse there in mid lane to get away from the Zoe bubbles, while a Blaze Olive has the only summoner spellbook on the Rift.
Yeah, the cleanse I think is super important. It's good to see that Pobelter's went for that, because if he does get flash queued or stunned down by Iconic, then yeah, you can get out of there so you just don't get stun locked by that, including the Zoe Trouble Bubble.
Yeah.
Also, Varus has that. So there's so much in that department from Golden Guardians in terms of lockdown that I'm surprised that Wild Turtle went towards, having faith that he can just dodge out of that from his own blink and just at least having heal for that combat summoner in the bot lane. So good to follow, see if Wild Turtle is able to play around that pretty well, because when the clock strikes 6, level 6 hit by Stixxay, he's going to be there calling his jungler for that play.
You know it. Okay, top side. Finn doing what you would expect. Skill E level 1, run at him and just start using the power of your auto attacks and your passive to take him down. Solo will be zoned away from the wave. Finn will be able to have complete control over this one. Chop, chop, snip, snip.
Just such high cooldowns early on for Renekton, so especially for Finn, it's going to be level 2 advantage, so you're going to get snipped up, buddy.
Yep. And with the Q and the Ignite, it won't be enough to kill him. Ignite at level 2 does like 70 damage, so with the potion already used, Solo stays alive. Remember that Finn has no flash to try to jump in there and make a surprise play, so instead he will just take complete control of the lane, shove in the wave, 10-1 on farm. Solo can grab some of that here, but Finn feeling good about the early lane here.
Absolutely. I mean, of course, wasn't going to be enough, as you said. And he doesn't have the jungler in the area to look for a dive at that moment. But at the end of the day, I mean, he's going to get his Ignite back before any other scrap ends up happening. Gank early from Broxah.
Ooh, nice stun there from Pobelter. Sonic Wave into the resonating strike, but a Blaze Olive sidestepping that last Dark Sphere means he stays alive.
That's what I love to see from Broxah. Closes the distance with the ward hop and then follows the flash with his own Q. So this is that Lee Sin play. Thank God for the jungle meta being changed a little bit to make it all happen.
Yep. Back up there in the top side, you can see Finn has teleported back in. You'll see a Blaze Olive doing the same thing here in mid. And for Solo, remember that when you're in a teleport versus teleport matchup and you still have yours, you want to get any damage onto the guy that you can before you TP back, just to have that free advantage once you return. But for Solo, it's so hard to try to get any damage onto him, because as soon as you try with half HP, he might just turn around and kill you, Ignite or not. Down here in the bottom lane, it's Golden Guardians bot lane duo that'll be able to finish off this crab. Oh, man, this is the bot lane I wish I had.
Give me the crab.
They just give it over to the jungler, easy as that. Iconic getting double crab this game.
All right, set your jungle up to succeed. That's what they were doing last split as well. when Iconic was farming up consistently. This time they're playing around that. You know, no active plays happening in the side lanes. You know, Solo taking the pressure, playing well around it, not dying when the Ignite got put down. All these things happen. In the meantime, you know, Iconic's getting a slow advantage, and now when he pats back top lane, can find an opportunity to get a kill on a flashless Finn.
Right. That's what we always have to remember, the cost of taking the Ignite. We've seen the benefit of the Ignite back at level 1. We're seeing that now in the CS difference between the champions. But the cost is something that it's up to Golden Guardians to punish, to make real. You can see that Golden Guardians currently have about a couple hundred gold as an advantage for themselves, largely from the farm leads that they have in all the roles that are not top lane. That one's going the way of CLG, but everything else is slightly in favor of the Golden Guardians. Finn drops down the W, trades back with Solo here. It looks about even at the start, but the back end of the trade is all Finn.
That's the thing.
Nicely done yet again. A Blaze Olive under pressure, and Broxah's ready to go. It's first blood for the Lee Sin.
Yeah, Olive trying to get his wave in and thought he got a nice trade on towards Pobelter.
Oh, and here comes the greed, Mr. Raz. It is a deadly sin, and Solo is the one to punish.
Hey, you know what? Name of the game early on is trying to get your wave in and dying to the jungler. That's been the case here for Finn. Finn knew that this path has been happening from Iconic, but of course hasn't been able to get that wave in pretty easily. But of course, you can just play well around it. Gets caught. He's going to be hitting himself on that one, dying at that angle, especially after Broxah got a sick playoff mid lane, got himself the first blood. Good job to CLG, but great response from Golden Guardians.
Yep, Golden Guardians making sure we have a nice close game on our hands here. 1-1, dead even gold. I love seeing the playmaking from Pobelter and Broxah together. I want to continue seeing these two work on that. Broxah just coming through the lane, trusting Pobelter to set things up with the scat of the week. That's what you love to see from these two.
And that's going to be the annoying thing. A little bit of damage being put down a Wild Turtle here for a Blaze Olive, because Olive for the rest of this game is just going to be the consistent thing. Even if Lee Sin's going to be playing towards the Syndra lane regardless, like consistently.
It's so easy, right?
It's very easy. It's very easy to find a pick. If you have push mid lane, then you can turn it into a 3-man dive. That's always the constant state of Zoe. So Zoe, if she can find a way playing through mid lane with the Varus, find poke, all that thing, so you have to kind of respect and play the Golden Guardians game plan. Hey, that's great, and it gets you out of that bad position we were talking about earlier.
Okay, we do have a pause on stage right now. We'll update y'all whenever we find out exactly what is going on. But until then, we're kind of just chilling here. We've had 2 kills so far early on in the game. Both teams showing that they're able and capable of making the moves in the mid lane or in the top side.
Yep.
Of course, one felt like a more active approach from the side of CLG, while the other one was Finn just being a little bit too greedy, sticking around there in that brush, getting punished. But it was a good punish there from the Golden Guardians, recognizing that too.
Exactly. You know, that kind of death is just a bad death, because it's one of those things where you know where the enemy jungle is pathing, and you know you should know the timing in which he's going to hit topside. So yeah, Finn recognizes that. But yeah, I mean, Brox is active. That's what we need. That's all these CLG fans out there, I know you exist. The chat may be drowning you out or belittling you or all these little things, but like, you out there and you know that if there's going to be faith in your team, it's going to be happening through Brox's early game plan that he has consistently, but this time on his pick. And playing through Pobelter, who last split, when he came through, was damn impactful. I thought his Lucian gameplay was excellent, and he's on the Syndra pick where, you know, if you look to the Pobelter of the past, has had insane plays on that champion. So definitely, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen through those 2 guys.
Okay, top side, the 1v1's breaking out, and it's Solo who's got the level 6. Finn's still only level 5. Gwen likely to fall here, but Brox is there in time to keep him alive. Broxah goes in for a little bit more, but again, without an ulti, he can't secure a kill back. So CLG will take that as a win, keeping their top laner alive here. Finn just rotating down. He'll be able to eat the honey fruits to keep himself in the lane a little bit longer.
But now you can see what the mindset is of Renekton versus Gwen. Because even though I've seen multiple times where the Gwen, of course, can chip down and bully the Renekton, and this is another instance.
Oh, boy.
You dodge it?
Going in? Nah, he won't dodge it, but Solo's strong enough to just be able to walk it off. Finn does not want to allow this entire wave to just crash into the turret with no EXP or gold value, so he'll back off and pick up all of those. And man, Golden Guardian, Solo on this Renekton pick, choosing it over the Gwen, blue side, first pick. Will that work out as the game goes on? That's what I'm curious about.
It was looking good earlier. Of course it won't scale well, but like when Renekton, going back to the early pick, hit 6, get on top of you, shred armor, all these things, shred that resistances, he's a demon to deal with. So like those are the things that I look towards. I remember a conversation constantly happens between like Renekton versus, you know, Camille and all these things. But the amount of just straight up stats that the Renekton gains off his ultimate is, yeah, you need a lot of help.
Very scary stuff. You can already see the Bramble Best first item for Finn. Very useful against these champions that have to auto-attack you, and Grievous Wounds really hurts them. Broxah is once again hovering around the mid lane, but Iconic is here too. Trouble Bubble flies out, but Broxah will not be hit by that one. I am very much concerned for CLG if one of these 2v2s starts off with a Trouble Bubble connecting, because if Volibear's there to follow up with an ulti too, scary stuff. Almost a guaranteed death.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to be talking about that soon enough with Rift Herald being the focus, with Stixxay and Chime having first push bot side. So, you know, the Tahm Kench is going to be there first. So all the vision that CLG has had is going to be whisked away, but let's see if they can make a play happen here.
Okay, junglers will find each other first. Broxah doesn't want anything to do with this 1v1. You can see Iconic already taking off half of his HP. And this is always a fun conversation that I think about when you look at a champion that's a juggernaut, like Volibear, compared to a champion that's more of a fighter and a diver like Lee Sin. So much of Lee Sin's power budget is in his mobility. It's in his playmaking. Volibear is just a big old walking wall of meat.
He's going to sit on
that doesn't care if you're able to jump around him 1,000 different ways. He's going to grab you by the throat and rip your head off. And that's what Lee Sin cannot stand and fight. So Volibear easily wins that. The reward then is Iconic and the rest of the Golden Guardians taking the Rift Herald.
I feel like that was a really weird decision from CLG. They wanted to contest for that. They had a ward on it, so they had the HP understanding that. It's like, okay, like their bot lane's not going to be there on time, but they still walked them up. I'm gonna look for a pick here, but Chime is pretty damn tanky.
Chime is a tanky boy, but Smoothie's got a lot of CC. Flash out from Chime to avoid the scatter of the weak means he stays alive.
All right, at least they're able to get something off of this one. But my point was more so if Golden Guardian's getting Rift Herald and they're using a lot of resources to go for that, then try and trade in the opposite side of the map and maybe force Stixxay and Chime off the wave. Or get Dragon, you know, one or the other. But they thought they could fight for it, and then they just came late.
Okay, Broxah picking up himself a Scuttle Crab in the bottom lane as the blue buff will be handed over to a Blaze Olive who is completely out of mana, so he'll head back to base anyway. Considering Pobelter just went back for a shop, you want to make sure that you're staying on the same level as your opponent.
Exactly, and so we talked about it a little earlier on, at least you mentioned it, the fact that he has a spell book. Right. Because a Blaze Olive just wants to keep up in experience, knowing that Syndra is going to have teleport, or at least, you know, thought that Syndra was going to have teleport, actually had the cleanse.
Yeah.
Wanted to be able to match that, but then, of course, have that passive available to, you know, be able to
give you more
have access to heal and to cleanse and all these things. So all these things are available for her.
Okay, a Blaze Olive also enjoying a CS lead here in the mid lane. The gold between those teams, man, it just keeps on staying even. You can see Pobelter and a Blaze Olive both with their blue buffs, so there's a lot of ability to just spam the wave nonstop for both these guys. Back up here in the top lane, Finn and Solo just locked in Mortal Kombat once again. As the bottom side will see Turtle and Smoothie both hanging around underneath the turret here. Smoothie not showing himself just yet, just in case they want to try to get a little bit hyphy on Turtle while he's seemingly alone, but that will not happen.
And this is the thing. You're right. It's a pretty even game. But I like this a little bit better from Golden Guardians because of the vision that they're able to put down. Of course, now CLG is solidifying that vision now. So they have control over Dragon. But Rift Herald's still there for Iconic, so you can just plant it down mid lane, or actually more bot lane. I think you should go bot lane with Varus and Tahm Kench, and then you work with that lane to regain vision.
Nicely placed there with the Dark Spear, and Broxah goes in to get the kick. It's a flash for flash traded with a Blaze Olive and Broxah. A Blaze Olive stays alive.
That's just beautiful to watch, though. Olive in constant pressure has to use Ozone Flash. Pobelter actually might be able to get the kill here. Olive has to walk away.
Pobelter also tempting fate as Iconic approaches from the flank. Oh, he tries to flash in for the point-blank stun. Iconic wants to chase it even further. Pobelter's on the run with Broxah nearby. Pobelter will be saved from a potential turret dive. A TP coming into mid lane now as a Blaze Olive joins back up with the rest of the squad. He's healed up and ready to go. Has an Ignite ready too.
But this is going to be costly for CLG because I was expecting that it was going to be a little harder for Golden Guardians to get on top of Dragon, but that's a real chunked out Pobelter. He's going to have to go back to base at some point. He cannot fight under that condition after that mistake.
And that means free Dragons. So both objectives this game, the Rift Herald and the first Drake, go in the way of the Golden Guardians. Of course, this is a very, very late first Drake, Raz. This is 12 minutes into the game, Drake number 1. Oftentimes, you see Drake number 2 closer to this point in time. So the Soul Stack, even if they go 4-0, will be pretty delayed.
Yeah, I think both junglers have been doing a great job tracking each other. So if there was ever an opportunity for Iconic to start on Dragon, you know, CLG would be there to answer that. especially since Zoe doesn't have a way to kind of get out of lane free. She's going to be tracked down by Pobelter, so one reason for that game being slowed down, but also both teams have been really clued in their top lane to try and get them involved and try and get an advantage going really early on. And Solo has that now, but it's something that you have to be aware of because Finn can just start spiraling it once he's able to get his Mythic.
Okay, talking about Mythics, we only have 2 online so far. The Gore Drinker for Broxah and the Prowler's Claw for Stixxay. So yes, we're seeing that poke Varus that you were talking about. This isn't the lethal tempo on hit style of things that we saw in the previous game. Gore Drinker for Lee Sin, very standard, expecting to see him go into Asterix right after. As they summon up Shelly in the mid lane, they want to get the charge off. They want to grab the couple plates worth of gold here. And there shouldn't be anything that CLG can say about it. A little bit of extra damage from a Blaze Olive will guarantee the 3rd plate. And there you go, 480 gold, just like that.
Yeah, they didn't want to lose the Rift Herald, but they were able to actually at least get it for the gold now on top of Olive.
Okay.
Oh, watch out for that one.
Just jumps forward, psychs him out a little bit, gets right on back. Up here in the top lane, Solo still having the level advantage over Finn, 10-9. And Solo's actually the one who's got himself a farm advantage now, too.
It's been doing a great job. And that's the intended point of this matchup, is that once you do hit, post 6, it's just difficult for Finn to pick his battles against you. He will take over the matchup after, I would say, maybe Nashor's Tooth, so maybe 2 items, looking forward to that. But at this pace of the game, it's Golden Guardians, that is, that's just forcing the topic. So
right.
Has the first dragon, they're going to be looking for the second one, and it's going to have to be CLG looking for an answer at some point.
But of course, that is still a long way away. 3 minutes is a lot of time for a lot of things to happen in a game of League of Legends. But currently, everybody's just farming it up, clearing through the jungle. True Shot Barrage fired off here. While Varus charges the arrow, he's a pretty easy target to hit with that, so a good little bit of poke here. As Broxah's once again making a move in the mid lane. A good stun. Scatter the Weak gets it done. A Blaze Olive tries to buy himself a moment's notice there with a stopwatch, but it's as broken as he is, and you got Broxah, the man who just breaks him in half.
Yeah, playing aggressively, didn't know where the Lee Sin was. And also just a great lockdown from Pobelter. When he ultied it forward, the Zoe that is, knew exactly where you're going to go. So just locks him down.
He's got to go back.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got to go back, and he's got to go back to the spawn platform now. Broxah making sure that this team is able to make some moves happen. He does have both kills so far. So Lee Sin, how much can you get done in the mid game? And this goes back to what we were talking about at Champ Select. We love seeing Broxah on this champion. Lee Sin's one of those champions. Not everybody can play it well, but Broxah can. And I want to keep seeing some playmaking out of him.
Slowly reposition.
Boom!
Hit him with a bomb. They're checking back just in case.
Just to make sure that second turret shot fires off.
I always love it, just the BM of like, just the model of the champion watching you slowly pacing forward as you know that you're going to get the kill.
Yup, it's like, see you later, buddy. And we'll have the second Rift Herald now, taken by the Golden Guardians. Once again, uncontested. Iconic can pick that one up here for his team. They used the first one in mid lane. If they use the second one there as well, they'll be able to secure the entirety of that turret. Broxah with a ward jump away over to safety. Continues to stay alive and all right after losing a little bit of HP, but there's no play to be made here in the bottom lane.
They are sacking a lot for this one. You pick the Varus Tahm Kench for the strength of the bot lane, but they're now actually behind NCS because they're being consistently pushed back. With the top lane focus that we're seeing from Golden Guardian, so that's not something that I actually generally like. When the first Rift Herald dropped, I actually expected the Rift Herald to be used bot lane, right? You have so much pressure from Tahm Kench Varus. If you can unlock a Blaze Olive in one instance, that you can actually just get that turret, or at least quite a lot of it for free. And you can use the Tahm Kench to roam around a little bit more for you. We've seen that, globally. But in this instance, the first one, I mean, they didn't really have an active use. The plan was to use it mid, but Syndra already fell really close, so they just got Dragon anyways. But the second one here, they just picked it up when bot lane, I think, should have just been the focus. So let's just see what Iconic's able to do with this Rift Herald.
Right.
Because if it's active, if it's going back bottom lane, then great. I have no problems with it, no qualms.
Okay, Piercing Arrow finds Wild Turtle, but honestly only 100 damage from it, considering it passed through so many minions first. Golden Guardians making a play for the mid lane tier 1 turret. Yeah, Pobelter's still here, but he can't protect it enough. And that means first turret goes over to the Guardians as well. 2,000 gold lead. Dragon number 2 is about to spawn. Can they take this? CLG does have bodies nearby.
Yeah, but they're all in vision while that's happening. Great Ward's catching out Broxah in that tri-bush near the bottom lane turret. He's going to start up on this Dragon, but Golden Guardians are definitely in a position to stop this. Syndra's going to have to take a long trek to join the team.
Okay, Iconic and a Blaze Olive sticking around together, making sure neither one of them can get jumped on for free here, as we've got the repositioning from Chime and Stixxay to join up with their other teammates. Smoothie will not get hit by a Paddle Star. We'll see the teams continue to posture aggressively against one another here, just deciding who will be the one to fire the first shot that starts off this team.
There it is, and it's going to be CLG backing away. Not only the Rift Herald well used there, but also Renekton was just there pushing mid lane. So great from Solo, veteran decision to just join the team and force Finn to make the decision. You know, UTP in a situation where, you know, I'm already there, we can just start the fight instantly, and also they don't want to lose this much of their mid lane. So Golden Guardians are going to pick up the second dragon, and it's going to be Infernal, so 2 more dragons before Golden Guardians get that soul.
Possibility of an Infernal Soul with a Varus and Zoe composition, right?
Good.
That is not a fun time for CLG, who are still about 2,000 gold behind, who are trying to get Gwen to the point where she wins that 1v1 against Renekton again, and they can start applying some pressure in the side lane, but they have to staunch the bleeding first. They can't keep falling further behind.
And that's the risk of running hard split pushers like Gwen, Fiora, and all these things, is that the enemy team just makes a real focus on just stacking dragons. Then, yeah, CLG needs to be there for that third dragon. They don't want to have a situation where Golden Guardians are on soul point. So now, does Gwen get to her Nashor's Tooth by that time? Doubtful. Not going to happen.
Okay.
So now you're in a position where you have to fight, team fight, with the Gwen, a little bit behind than Solo, and definitely not in a position to fight. So it's one of those moments you can push a game-changing fight really early on.
And I also want to point out the mythic item for Iconic this game is the Turbo Kim Tank. Remember that this item was the scourge of everyone for the longest time.
True.
It was just Udyr over and over and over and over again running this item. We were seeing everybody in the jungle running this item. Most people have given it up now in exchange for the Frostfire Gauntlet, sometimes even for the Sunfire Aegis. But Iconic wants the extra playmaking. The item, back when it was defining of the jungle meta, had a 75% move speed increase. It got nerfed down to 60. That hurt it a little bit. It then got nerfed down to 40, which is the point that it's at now where most people have abandoned it. So I do want to keep eyes on Iconic, see how much value he gets out of this active. As we take a look back up at the top side here, and it's pretty much what you would expect. Solo grabs whatever quick trades he can while Finn pushes out the wave, but there's not really any...
Back half of that skirmish, just so you can get that added movement speed off your passive. So was able to get it out of there. Great TP to try and challenge that, but CLG get nothing off of that one. So this is just now Golden Guardians being able to back away from a play, chunk out Smoothie, and get this bottom lane turret.
Yep, Golden Guardians finding leads, finding advantages, turning those into objectives. You love to see it. Now up 2,500 gold, and this is what I'm talking about, staunching the bleeding. As long as Golden Guardians continue building up these leads over time, CLG will have to constantly ask themselves the question, is it salvageable? Are we too far behind now? I don't think it's lost yet by any means, but when you continue to have your opponents build advantages, you got to eventually draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, and I think CLG, here's the thing. I just think that they have that ticking time clock where they should just feel comfortable with the game going later and later and later because of Gwen. You just have those aspects within your composition where you just have full confidence that at some point your win condition is going to come online. Really early on, it was Pobelter and Broxah trying to find picks mid.
Making plays.
Exactly, and they were successful for the most part. Pobelter also putting out pressure side lane, so they can still do that. Zoe's not going to be there for this wave, and even if she was, Brox is going to recognize that and also just try and look for a kill. So that's always going to be the case.
Also, Muramana popped up on your scoreboard right now, which means Ezreal is officially full build.
There it
Divine
is.
Sunderer plus Muramana, especially against a team comp. With Renekton, Volibear, Tahm Kench front line, Divine Sunderer will get so much value as long as Wild Turtle is not caught. And this goes back to what you mentioned at the very beginning of the game, talking about the cleanse versus the heal. Turtle is vulnerable. If they find CC on him, he's just dead. Otherwise, the Q-poke will be strong. Brox is the one getting jumped on here in the top lane. Chime going in, trying to follow it up here a little bit better, but a good flash out from Brox that keeps him safe.
Now you can see how difficult it is for Golden Guardians to stick on a member. You know, if they don't have Varus for the fight, then you're doing everything. Chime flashing forward, exhausting, just like, please stay in position as I try and kill you.
Yep, that was both summoner spells from Chime, but it did not get the kill. Finn on that split push duty down here. Both top laners level 14. Finn committing to the turret. Needs one more auto attack to take it down. He pops the ulti, looking to grab the rest of that damage here. Uses the ignite too. Finn really wants this solo kill. He will not get it. Solo will lose his Sterix gauge. He has to use his ulti. Finn definitely scaring him off there.
That's a lot of damage put on Solo. With Dragon coming up, I think CLG is in a great position now for this Dragon.
Yeah.
Don't know if Golden Guardians even want to take this fight. No TP there from Solo either, so he just has to stay.
No TP for either one of the top laners. Gwen has no ulti, but Solo has no ulti and only half of his HP. He is regenerating rather rapidly. Remember, they do have that one Ocean Drake to give him a little bit of extra bonus regeneration. As CLG, the first one's onto the Drake, but Solo's come over the wall and he's ready to go. CLG sticking on there for now. Smoothie jumping in the middle of everybody with a True Shot Barrage flying out, and Solo stealing away the Drake as Golden Guardians find 2 kills for nothing.
Wow, I didn't see that one coming. Question mark there for Solo. As I thought he was going to be coming in largely useless, like just basically hoping that the team's able to get the smite away, but he's the one that gets the killing blow on it. And now Baron right for the taking with both Broxah and Smoothie down.
Enemy jungler not there means this is what you go for. Force them to come try to answer it. Make them throw one of their bodies into the blender just to get you off this objective. Golden Guardians going after it. They don't do it particularly fast, but it is going down to about half already. Pobelter and Wild Turtle hanging around. Pobelter getting hit by the sleep, though. There's got to be no way else for them in here. Wild Turtle trying to provide some kind of a threat. A teleport will be showing up from Finn. CLG coming in, looking to stop this, but the Baron's going to go over to the Golden Guardians. Finn's in the middle of the pit, looking to fight, looking to find the ulti here, grabbing the kill onto Iconic, but it's already going to be a 1-for-1. Finn's looking for even more, needs a little bit more damage here to find the auto attack. As Smoothie continues chasing him, Blaze Olive going to die next. Solo's now in the middle of 4. CLG are making the fight work out. They will almost find the kill into Solo, and the Sonic Wave gets it done. Golden Guardians will take the Baron, but they will lose 3 in exchange for only Wild Turtle.
Great job to Finn buying time for the rest of the team to come in through because, that stopwatch came in clutch. Golden Guardians being able to pick that up. They had double smite, by the way, with Zoe being able to have smite herself. So I was like, okay, they picked up that. And Pobelter, he really could not join the fight, being chunked down so low at the very beginning of it. But just rewatching this once again, incredibly low, puts in a ton of damage on towards Iconic. This was a great pick on towards the Ezreal as well. But look at the DPS that we saw from that Gwen. Also using stopwatch to buy time. So Solo was the one that was really incredibly powerful at this team fight.
Yeah.
And was just trying to find that timer to get the kill on towards Gwen. Go stopwatch, and it's CLG that picks up that fight.
Yeah. Finn optimizing for defense here. Full Zhonya's Hourglass second item. You brought up the Nashor's Tooth. That is always what people look at least in a solo queue environment.
Yeah.
Riftmaker, Nashor's Tooth. That's what gives Gwen that I'm going to 1v1 you and you can't do anything about it factor. But this gives so much team fighting utility. Sleepy Trouble Bubble only finds the enemy support, and Golden Guardians will not push further in towards this. Now remember, they've got this Baron for the next minute and a half. 2.5 minutes from now is the 4th Drake of the game, of which Golden Guardians have all 3 so far. We may have ourselves a team fight. Stixxay gets stunned thanks to the Leona ulti, but there's no follow-up.
Yeah, they don't want to follow up with Chime just sitting there, just waiting for them to make a mistake so he can gobble them up.
True.
So you're in a position now, full pick composition with a Tahm Kench that's there to save you. So it's really difficult for CLG actually in this game. Even with 3 people dying, you still have enough Baron to now put yourself on bot lane and mid lane to get that pushed out. And with 1 minute and a half, or I guess 1 minute 50 seconds until Soul is going to be the focus, Golden Guardians have everything with a poke composition to rain on CLG.
Yeah, CLG knows they must keep this Infernal Soul away from their opponents. They need to be in a spot to be able to fight for this, but it is very difficult with Golden Guardians now having a 4-1 turret lead that results in a 4,500 gold lead. Golden Guardians rotating everyone down to the bottom lane now as the enemy blue buff spawns, and they will be able to take this one away. You want to see them give it over to Varus or Zoe or somebody that's going to get a lot of value here out of the poke. A Blaze Olive will be the one to inherit it as the push continues. Tier 2 in the bottom lane. There's no contest for this one. Nobody on CLG deems that worthy of defending because it's so difficult at this point in time. So that means there is only 1 Tier 2 turret left standing for CLG, and Golden Guardians continue padding their pockets.
This is the time that CLG has to throw it all down. Clear out the wards, of course, in your own blue side jungle, but at least get something down, a TP ward or something, so that when Dragon comes up, you can be there to contest for it. That's all we need right now. CLG is out early to be on top of these wards fast. So now they got the first vision control plate out. Golden Guardians should be on the mid lane wave, push that out, and try and force CLG's hand. Because honestly, Golden Guardians can just make the March mid happen. So, and it's going to be CLG that has to respond. Either take this dragon and all the. Let's see what the choice is.
Okay, we still got 30 seconds before the Drake itself spawns. Finn eating the honey fruits to get enough mana back to be viable here in the team fight. True Shot Barrage won't find a whole lot of anything, but remember it does have a pretty low cooldown. Sleepy Trouble Bubble again, aimed towards anybody that it might be able to find, but Broxah steps out of the way in time. And
Finn's in a really good position here. In fact, both their support and top lane are putting themselves in flank positions. Now, Finn, if he makes the round trip, he will be seen on these control wards, so Golden Guardians will not be surprised there. But they do not know about, okay, now they see the Leona, Tahm Kench marking her. So both teams are going to be in a standby. This just might be a smite fight.
Oh, baby. This could get hectic very quickly. Finn steps on a ward, realizes he is seen. Solo the one sent over to answer him. The Drake at about 4,000 HP. Iconic sitting on top of it right now with Smoothie about to die instantly, but he will not be killed just yet. Down to about 100 HP. Pobelter having to get away now with the cleanse from the mid lane. Stixxay with a very nice snipe. Finn tries to frontline here, but he will not be able to stand against the combined might of the Golden Guardians with the Drake being taken very low and Iconic having to jump over the wall. The Dragon goes the way of CLG, but at what cost? Turtle's going to sleep, and this is where a cleanse would have helped a lot, but the accuracy ain't there. Solo gets the kill into Finn. CLG have lost 2 players with the remaining ones at incredibly low health. While Turtle trying to stay alive and fend off anybody who might be able to chase him. Solo cannot dive towards this Ezreal, not when he has the E up. It is so easy for him to turn that around and grab the kill. Turtle looking for a way out of town. He goes for the damage. He won't quite find it. Solo, though, now got to be very, very respectful, very, very careful. Oh, goodbye, Wild Turtle. You are an endangered species, my friend.
But CLG lengthened the game with that pick. What a great decision to just focus down Iconic, who was in the pit alone. Being like, all right, let's poke you down. Iconic had to use his ultimate to get out of the pit to just remain alive. Ended up dying, of course, so great position for Broxah to be able to get that steal. But then Golden Guardians start cleaning up and start pruning the weeds.
Okay, Golden Guardians, they get the fight, but they don't get the Drake. Let's take another look at how it went down.
Yeah, this is just a blaze all of sniping people. Of course, you're right. Smoothie was in sight, off that vision, and this Varus Q, Stixxay just obliterating Smoothie. But then take a look, as the focus here, Iconic's really low, commits into the pit, wants to burn it down, but just takes so much damage from Finn alone.
Nicely smited by Broxah there, knowing that his opponent couldn't try to smite for it. Then Finn finishes off Iconic.
Another bubble.
But Finn is not in a position to then win the fight against Solo after the fact. Solo going for the full, I have to say this right, Chempunk Chainsword. I hate that stupid item name because 2 CH words that you say the CH differently. That's why I don't like it. It's a tongue twister. But Solo has that item. It cuts down on the healing. Finn's not able to defend himself, and he falls over. Now we got the Golden Guardians once again in control of the map to the tune of 6,500 gold. 3 minutes until the next Drake spawns. Baron is alive. They could just switch their attention over to this if they want, but right now they seem to be setting a trap in the enemy jungle.
Yeah, good focus here from Golden Guardians to just focus, be on the side of Baron. And then at a certain point when Dragon is going to be spawning out, if the enemy team doesn't take the bait or all these things, you can just shift all that ward that you have here. But they just might start it. They're in a pretty good position already. Okay, here we go.
All right. But everybody's alive. That's the thing. If you start this Baron and CLG manages to have just that little bit of a feeling that something's wrong, you could be in trouble very quickly. So Golden Guardians not wanting to throw away their lead by making a hasty Baron call.
What a decision from CLG. Calling their bluff. They know that they have TP on Finn, so he's going to be there at any moment. It's actually going to force Golden Guardians to start Baron now. If they don't do that, then Gwen is just going to be chipping at your turret. They sent Solo back here.
Okay, they're going in. Notice they're not attacking the Scryer's Trinket. They're making sure that they don't give away to CLG, that they are in the pit. Both top laners are down in the bottom lane with Solo coming in now. Solo's coming in on the flank. He will be here immediately ready to go. The Golden Guardians, though, it's also Finn coming in on the flank. Here comes the fight with Smoothie trying to initiate onto the middle of the Guardians. Finn's jumping into the middle now with everybody else, too, having the W, able to keep himself protected. Solo's in the ulti, looking to come around from behind, but they're grabbing the damage now with a shutdown on the enemy AD carry. Golden Guardians going to lose 2. CLG's already lost 1, but CLG is finding the extended fight, and they're doing it wonderfully. Finn stays alive with the power of the shield, and Solo goes down. 1 Olive versus all of Counter Logic Gaming. I don't think it's going his way, and Turtle goes wild!
CLG had it all understood, and even though Renekton came out with his own flank, Finn had a better one.
Finn was ready to go. That is the scaling power.
And what a game it is now for CLG to turn it on a dime. They were at death's door trying to defend Seoul, were able to extend the game for a little bit. And now they found that crucial fight to pick up Baron.
Such a good look for CLG here. That is exactly what they needed. Let's take a look at how it went down again in our Roccat flip the switch replay.
And there it is. You have to be able to defend Finn, who's coming straight into the thick of it. So Blaze Olive has to be a little bit further away from his team. And then when Finn is being focused on alongside Smoothie, goes Golden with Zhonya's a great purchase and is able to just chip down at them consistently. Oh, and also just CLG as a whole, just right on top of them, as the Blaze Olive really couldn't do too much just because of how the fight started.
And Solo, although it looked like he was this raid boss here at the end, 1v4, and they all had to use the power of friendship to take him down or whatever, that's because at the beginning of the fight, he couldn't find an angle to get in there and do his damage when he needed to, when everybody else was still alive. So CLG loving how things are playing out now. The gold went from 6,000 to even.
Yes.
From 6K to even is incredible, as now Solo trying to walk away from Finn, who has his Nashor's Tooth, who's working towards a Thorn Mail as well. We have scaled past the point of Renekton supremacy. CLG going after the Drake. Remember, there's always a steal potential. Oh, that was close. That looked so close. It's Turtle who picks it up, and CLG continue to prevent the Soul.
Yeah, Golden Guardians didn't feel comfortable fully committing for a fight. 6A didn't have Cleanse, didn't have Flash. If he just goes in like that, he gets popped. So really smart for them to just say, okay, we have time, guys. We don't want to risk the game all on just that one moment. And it just balloons there for CLG. So now we're in CLG territory.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And if we're talking about CLG territory, I want to talk about Pobelter for a minute. Highest farm in the game.
Nice.
10 out of 11 kill participation, which is 91% or something.
Something like that.
0 deaths. Was also part of the early game engine for CLG and being a part of both of the kills that they secured with Broxah coming to that mid lane there. I feel like every single split that we start where Pobelter's not on a team, I'm just playing the game with myself where I'm saying, I wonder how long it'll take for Pobelter to be on a team.
Yeah.
I just don't get it when people don't pick this guy up because it just seems like he always performs when somebody needs him to come in as that clutch moment. And I'm having a fun time watching him here in this game on the Syndra with Broxah. When these two are able to play together and facilitate his success, I think Pobelter's having a really good game.
He definitely has that aura about him. Can rally a team around his champion. You're super confident in that being your win condition, and I think it's been the case here. Pobelter has been super consistent all game long. Of course, we've been singing the praises of Finn because of that pressure. Of course, Exhaust almost getting hit on him, the Sleepy Trouble Bubble as well. But now, that's Exhaust. Actually, that's completely fine.
All right, they're out of there. They're out of there. Banshee's Veil on Pobelter makes it difficult to be able to punish him properly without popping that first. And Ezreal is Ezreal. So always difficult to stick on top of that champion, especially with that Serelda's Grudge completed as his third item. Means it's super easy to kite people out with the Q spam. As the Golden Guardians, this game looks so different than it did just a few minutes ago, right? Exactly,
and now I don't see an angle for Golden Guardians because to the point that you mentioned about Serelda's Grudge being picked up, they already had the difficulties of trying to get on top of a Syndra, a Lee Sin, super defensive in the sense that they can just disengage quite easily. Now you have that extra bit of slow. Ezreal is going to make it so easy to kite through you in a team fight. Yep. Just from that extra slow now that Iconic has to deal with. So he needs a flash, he needs his ultimate to really get on top of, Pobelter or Broxah to get this thing going.
Okay, we've currently got 4 big items plus boots for Gwen. So we're at that point. But we have 2.5 minutes until there's anything really worth fighting over on the map. The turrets are now tied between the teams at 5-5. Both of them still have 1 tier 2 turret left standing, and for both of them it is in the top lane. But it seems like we're just sort of going to see a stalemate here. CLG are in the enemy jungle, placing down some vision, clearing out some wards from their opponents. But it doesn't look like we're going to get an overcommit from either side.
Yeah, CLG doesn't want to take any added risks because of what's happening in this game. Recognize that their win con right now is just Finn in his matchup. Yeah. Just play towards him, let him do his thing, and try and prune out the wards that are in the adjacent lane to him. So they're doing a great job at that. Now they have so much vision extending from the red side jungle to the dragon, so when the dragon does come up, that they have so much space to work with.
And we're this late in the game now that if your opponents aren't ready to respond to that dragon within the first 3 seconds that it spawns and you're there, you can just pick it up in those 3 seconds. We're not talking about a level 5 jungler trying to solo a Drake down and it takes 25 seconds for him to do it. Oh no.
It definitely feels like some MMO journey if you're trying to go into the Fog of War, hoping that no monster just tries to go on top of your head. Here comes the gank on top of Finn.
Talking about monsters, Finn's trying to fight here with a 1v3. He nearly kills off Stixxay. He nearly kills off Solo. He will finally die. All 3 of their health bars at about 40%. CLG now seeing if they can find a punish back. Turtle jumps over the wall, but he's already sleepy. That is a very trouble bubble, my friends. Wild Turtles getting away with Iconic, looking to make the play as Turtles now at about 10%. The Luden's Echo will be the thing to find the kill. CLG crumbles to pieces, and Golden Guardians surge to life.
Out of nowhere, huge death timers now for CLG, so that dragon is basically gone. Golden Guardians are going to just fight straight through this mid lane, go for inhibitor first, but man, it all happened in one go.
Does Golden Guardians just go for the win here? Do you just run it straight down mid to the Nexus itself? They've got the minion wave. They've got a tanky front line that could try to just absorb the Nexus turret shots. Okay, it's not a YOLO play. I got ahead of myself. My bad.
But there's TP from Finn when he comes back online. If they want to fight for this, they have to use it off of Gwen. They have to follow them. Otherwise, this dragon's more than gone. 10 seconds left. It seems like that's going to be the case. Actually,
okay.
Going straight
He's going top. He's saying, all right, you guys are going to get the soul. We can't try to fight. We don't have our AD carry. There will not be enough time. So this dragon secured by the side of the Golden Guardians. This will be their Infernal Soul.
The risk
39 minutes in.
The risk is the next step because they are pinging Baron. They're going to dip into their vision, but remember, you're going up against Infernal Dragon, especially on a Zoe that can just check straight through from Sleepy Trouble Bubble.
Yep.
So with this poke comp, they can just chill right here.
And there was some of the poke there. You saw Stixxay land the arrow, that extra little poof of fire there with the Infernal Soul.
Oh, they're hitting it.
Baron has already been started by CLG.
Finn is in a fantastic
They've
position.
got the Divine Sunderer Ezreal. They've got Gwen. They can drop this down very quickly. It's already at about 4K, 5K. Smoothie tanking up here on the front line with Finn coming around from the side. Golden Guardians want to approach. Brox is already going to be taken down to about half HP, but Solo's nearly killed here at the very start. Not able to do much here, left to fight, but it's a shutdown on Pobelter, starting it off here for the Golden Guardians. Sleepy Trouble Bubble down to Smoothie, and he's popped! A double kill back over to Stixxay. CLG 3v4 here on the map.
Straight overkill, you know. Olive thought he needed that extra bit of damage, but Varus is able to just kill him off of his damage alone. But yeah, the Gambit from CLG does not pay off. Brox is trying his hardest to protect the Gwen.
Yeah, they're just trying to get back to the base because their opponents are pushing down mid lane.
No way.
Broxa is getting stopped. He's not able to back. Iconic and Ablaze Olive, they're just trying to stop the ports. They're just buying the time. A TP showing up here in the mid lane now. Finn's trying to defend. He goes in after the Varus, but a good Devour is able to keep the AD carry alive, and Finn going into the stasis won't quite be able to find the kill just yet. But he mounts the defense. His ability to nearly instantly kill Stixxay will keep this game alive. True Shot Barrage just barely goes a little bit wide, and Gwen's needles will not find Stixxay's heart.
It's insane what he's able to do. Finn solo defending against 3 people to keep CLG's hopes alive. All right, let's see if they can get this pick. He is so close to being able to complete his base, but Iconic doesn't want to play with games around that one.
No, we are at the point of the game now, Raz, where playing those kinds of games, where you just coin flip, maybe it'll be awesome, maybe it'll be a mistake. If that coin comes up tails, the game could end.
Yes.
The death timers are long. The consequences are huge. And everything could come down to one big team fight around one of these huge objectives. Baron, once again, started up by CLG, once again, spotted by the Scryer's Trinket of the Golden Guardians.
They have 2 more of those, so they have ample vision and time to walk in slowly. Olive is seen off this ward, but he's able to get a lot. Oh, wait a minute.
Okay, this might just be the 50-50 here for the Baron to decide the game. The Baron's going to be taken low, and is Broxa able to secure it here and now. Smoothie coming around from behind. They're grabbing the shutdown on the enemy mid. They're grabbing the shutdown on the enemy carry. The Golden Guardians are completely eviscerated, and CLG takes a clean ace.
That was huge from CLG, and a kick from Broxa to nail the coffin in there. 40-second death timers. They're going to be using that top lane wave. They have a minion wave to do it.
If you're ever going to coin flip an objective, Raz, I'd say coin flipping it on Broxa Lee Sin is a good way to go. That was CLG having the confidence, having the faith in their jungler to win the situation, to win the team fight, and off of that, they're going to win the game. Yes, there's going to be respawns here in 15 seconds, but the Nexus will die in 10. Golden Guardians They did well for a long time, but the final team fight goes to CLG, and the win goes to CLG.
A much